Hello, it's Ronnie Yoga Devi, and I'm coming to you from my home in Leamington. My voice is a little off. I've got a bit of a sore throat. Boy, has today ever been a crazy day. So, I had some bills that were not received. I normally get my bills by paper. I get paper bills because I have a hard time reading bills online. It's usually the print is too small for me to read. So anyhow, I only have 3 bills that come in the mail. Kojiko, which is my internet bill. Bell, which is my landline. And Virgin, which is my cell phone. So that's service, internet, all that on my cell phone. Okay, so I was trying to pay my bills last week. I went to a branch, and for whatever reason, the computers were down and they weren't able to process my payment. So today I went to the bank, paid all the bills, got it all organized, and then I came home and called the people that whose bills I sent. 3 completely different responses. Kojiko, I could leave a message to tell them I paid the bill, this is the amount, I paid it from the bank. Bell Canada, I could go on the computer. Or, sorry, I phoned. I phoned them, and on the phone, all I had to do is let them know what my telephone number was, and amount of the bill that I had paid, and confirm that I had paid it. That took like a minute. Both of those took like a minute. And then there's Virgin. And Virgin was a nightmare. It took me several hours to be able to get this bill paid. No word of a lie. And I'm flabbergasted that it took this long. So in February, I'd asked for them to send me a large print bill because I need a larger bill than what they've been sending me to be able to read all the details, because they have the account number really, really tiny, blah, blah, blah. Bell does a better bill, I can read it. Kojiko does a better bill, I can read it. But Virgin's bill is really not well done. And if you have any visual issues whatsoever, it's just a nightmare. So I have been asking for a large print bill since February. So that's 6 months. And do you think it's come to my door once? Oh, no, wait, once. In February it came. After that, no. I've called every single month to say, I haven't got my bill. Can you send it out? No bill. So Bell has gotten too big for its britches. Virgin is one department and Bell is another department. But Bell seems to be able to organize things better than Virgin. And Virgin used to be the better company. Virgin used to be so customer service friendly that I just can't understand why it took several hours to confirm a payment. Okay, that's all I needed to do was confirm a payment. It should take maximum 5 minutes to do, right? But no. I had to speak with over 20 people, confirm my information with 20 people, get jostled around from one department to the other. Such a nightmare. Finally got it paid. And they were gonna pull some crazy numbers too on me. It was really crazy. They didn't send me the bill. for 6 months. And they went to they've gone to paperless billing. Cogeco just announced they're going to paperless billing, and that's not cool for people with disabilities who really need to see the bill. And I personally take my bills into the bank to pay them. I don't do these little payment apps and stuff like that because I don't feel they're safe. I know people who've worked for the police department in areas where they dealt with fraud. So they don't do it because they don't feel it's safe. So I'm not going to do it either. There have been too many incidents where people's banking information was put in danger because of online banking. So I don't do online banking. I don't feel it's safe. If you do it, fine. That's your decision to make, but I don't do online banking. Can't see well enough the screens in most companies. That they don't have an accommodation for anybody who has a visual issue, whether that's being legally blind or a slight visual impairment or anywhere in between there. So I started calling, I think, at 4:30 when I got home from the bank. I didn't get off the phone until about 9 o'clock. I'm not kidding. And I was like constant calling, and I've been like, my hours logged on the phone, like that I was looking at, was over 2 hours. I don't even know. I didn't keep track of all of it, but I was literally on the phone almost all afternoon after getting home from the bank. So it should be really easy to do these things that I just don't understand why it isn't at Virgin. I called and said, I made my payment. Here's the confirmation number. And they said they couldn't process it for 3 to 5 days. So it wouldn't apply to my account for 3 to 5 days, at which point in time late payment fees would apply and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, but listen, you didn't send me the bill for 6 months. You need to cut me some slack here. You have not sent me a physical bill for 6 months. I've requested it in February, in March, in April, in May, in June, and now it's July and I'm requesting it again. That's 6 months. You've had 6 months. Get your act together. Get your act together. Why can't you send this large print bill? You had no problem sending me a bill before, a hard copy bill, before I asked for a large print bill, but now all of a sudden they can't send the large print bill. And I figure it's probably because the different departments can't talk to each other. But it's like they can't deal with this because they don't know what to do. So they're constantly putting me on hold, going to talk to somebody else in a different department, but nobody knows how to solve it. And so I was on the phone with so many different people, 20 times. I had to give my name, my telephone number, my account number, and all this sort of stuff. And PIN codes and all this sort of stuff. And I am just thinking that it's time to change my cell phone from Virgin to something else. And so I'm looking for suggestions. In Canada, I live in the province of Ontario. So if you live in the province of Ontario in Canada and you have a better idea for a cell phone service, then Virgin, I've used them for 20 years since they first came into Canada. And now I'm like, I don't think I can continue to use them because I will not go through this again. I will not go through not getting my bill for a 7th month. I will not go through this nightmare of having to just get the payment applied because they haven't sent me bills. So what happened was I missed one payment, and so I was behind, so I caught up today. And even though I'm only 1 month behind, they cut off my service. So I couldn't call anybody. I couldn't text anybody. I couldn't do anything on my phone other than internet stuff because my internet, thank God, is with Kojiko. So at least I could use my internet in my apartment. But once I go out of my apartment, I can't even use the internet. And I use a transportation service that requires me to go on their app and log on, and when I get to the stop, it tells me where it is and blah blah blah, and how much longer it's going to be in case it's delayed and all that sort of stuff. And I can't function on that system without an active cell phone. I can't. It's just not possible because it's all through an app. So I basically said to Virgin, listen, if you can't get this straightened out by today, I'm going to be closing my account and starting with somebody else. Because if you can't straighten out the mistake that you made because of the fact that you have not billed me for 6 months, yet you're getting paid, right? And random amounts of money because I'm like paying whatever I think I should pay. Well, what did I pay the month before? Oh, I paid that. So, I'll pay that. So I paid a certain amount of money that was sometimes higher, sometimes lower than the bill, but either way, my bills was paid. And I'm like almost never late on my payment. And the only reason I was late this time was because it was a really heavy duty week this past week for me and my partner. So I just wasn't able to get to the bank to pay them. Normally my boyfriend will drive me to the bank and I'll pay all my bills. But he was sick for a couple days last week. And this week, getting windows replaced in the house. And it's a really crazy busy week. So it wasn't possible for him to drive me to the bank. So I thought, okay, I'll walk over to the bank. And I didn't have to do that because my mom was coming to do something. So she picked me up and took me over to the bank. I paid the bills and then I went home. And then I got home and thought, I'll call them all and let them know I paid the bill. Well, what a mistake with Virgin that was. Let me tell you. Unless when they call me tomorrow morning, they're going to call me tomorrow morning. And they said around, well, actually not morning. They said they'd call me tomorrow morning, but what she meant was when she comes in, which is around 1 o'clock. So if she calls me tomorrow morning, I don't get offered a significant savings, I'm jumping ship and I will not be with Virgin. So anyhow, looking for some suggestions again. If you're in Canada, particularly if you're in the province of Ontario, because I don't think they have all the same services in every province. They may have the same companies, but deal differently. But I hope this hasn't happened to anybody else that I know. What a bloody nightmare. I mean, I was literally fit to be tied. And I was like throwing up my hands and going, this is ridiculous. You can't sort out a bill. You can't figure out how to send a bill to me, like, for 6 months. Okay, like, this is what you do when you're a company. You do invoices. You send those invoices out to your client. Your client pays them. That's how it works. It does, and like, I know I get that a lot of people use apps and stuff like that and pay online and all that sort of stuff, but trust me, most people my age don't want to do it. I'm like 58 years old and I'm not going online to pay a bill. I'm going to go to the bank and pay it. And there's lots of people like me who just for whatever reason do not want to use an app to pay a bill, do not want to pay online. And it's not only people with disabilities who have visual issues, it's people who just say, doesn't feel safe to me, or don't want to do that. And you shouldn't have to. And the more people that roll over and do things on the app, the more it forces people who really can't do that for whatever reason to have to fight for their basic right to be able to say, no, I want to pay the way I want to pay. And you can't just enforce this on your customers. Like, Cogeco's now going to be doing the same thing. Because, oh, we're going to paperless billing. Well, no, you can do paperless billing with people who want paperless billing, but that's not something that you have the right to push onto your clients, especially those who do have disabilities, especially those who have visual disabilities, because you have a right to get a bill in a way that you can read it. It's really as simple as that. It is not rocket science. So anyhow, I will check in with you to let you know what happens tomorrow when I talk to the lady from Virgin, and it should be interesting. And this is it was person number 21 that I talked to who finally said, oh yeah, we'll rectify it. And I think person number 19 was the guy who restored the account, because they'd actually cut my account off while I'm over at the bank. While I'm over at the bank paying the bill, all of a sudden I got no service. I can't send a text. I can't make a phone call. If anything dangerous would have happened to me, if anybody was following me or whatever, I couldn't even text to say, somebody's following me, blah, blah, blah. I'm walking down the street, blah, blah, blah. You know, not that happens. Not that that's happened recently to me or anything like that, but it has happened in the past. And a woman walking alone needs to have a cell phone active with her at all times, because you never know when somebody might do something kooky. I mean, I know people that are, healthy and much bigger than me that have been, gone to a restaurant or whatever, and somebody tries to attack them and like push them into a corner and assault them sexually or otherwise. It's happened to men as well, that somebody's assaulted them in public. But with women, it's like the potential for sexual assault is something that you're always kind of afraid is there. That risk is always there for a woman. And I mean, it's happened to men too, that they've been through this, but the women out there, you know the stats. I don't have to tell women the stats on how many women get assaulted sexually. And it doesn't have to be like a rape. It doesn't have to be to that extent for it to be sexual assault. It only needs to be like somebody grabs at you and grabs your rear end or grabs your breasts or, grabs your purse and pulls you. That's sexual assault. And sexual harassment is even as simple as somebody on a construction site going, nice tits, or something stupid like that. It's not acceptable. But there was one funny one that I got when I was really, really young. And when I was walking down the street past a construction site, somebody said to me, do you get fries with that shake? I thought it was funny. I laughed. I was offended, but I still laughed because it was at least creative. But a lot of times when people say things and you're by yourself as a woman, it doesn't feel funny at all. It feels abusive. It feels very risky, because there might be one person saying that, but there might be 4 or 5 others on that, say, construction site that are going, wee, and they might even be chiming in. And I haven't had that happen to me in a long time, but a situation like that makes you think about other times where you didn't feel safe. And so, guys, if you're out there, make sure your girls have a cell phone. It doesn't have to be a real fancy one. Just a cell phone that they can text on and phone on there's an emergency or if they don't feel safe. Because like just for a short period of time being without a cell phone, I just was fit to be tied. I was just fit to be tied. I couldn't get home fast enough when I realized I didn't have a phone that was working, and I couldn't believe the hassle I went through trying to get it reactivated through no fault of my own, because the company for 6 months hadn't bothered to send me a bill. And for the past 5 months, I've just guessed and gone and paid it. And this month, because it was a pretty chaotic month, well, the end of the month actually was pretty chaotic. It's only the 5th of the month, but the beginning of the month has been pretty chaotic too. I didn't get to get that paid on time, so it got paid late. Anyhow, all this to say, if you're a good customer of a company and you pay your bills regularly on time, and for some reason you pay a little bit late, the worst that should happen is a service charge, a late payment fee. You should not be being cut off. And I'm calling you out, Virgin. That wasn't cool to do that to me, because you haven't done your due diligence. It's your responsibility to send me a bill. And again, well, I just am waiting for what happens tomorrow when I talk to the girl from Virgin. Let's see if she can sort it out. But I better get a really good offer, because I expect something in return for the disrespect, for all the hours that I was on the phone trying to resolve this. I expect something in return. And if I don't get it, I'm going to another company that does respect me. That's all for now. Ronnie Yoga Devi signing off. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye for now.